There is no future for people who deny their past. My foreparents, my grandparents.
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, your ultimate destination for urban culture, community vibes, and live conversations with the movers and shakers of the streets. Join us as we explore the rhythm of the one beat at a time. Let's get the show started. Turn up the volume, sit back and relax, and welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, hosted by Turbo, the CEO, and follow us on all social media platforms.
You're listening to the Final Boss Podcast.
Welcome to the Final Boss Podcast, Tuesday night edition. We are your host for Tuesday. I am the Final Boss. He is the Sensei, also known as Big Mike. Big Mike, how are you, sir?
Oh, living the dream.
Oh, man, that's what I'm talking about. Living the dream. Hey, guess what, everyone? Guess what? We have a phenomenal show for you tonight on one of our favorite subjects because we're pro. Guess what? You know it. Alpha Indiglue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. AI, baby. We're talking about AI more and more. We're having these conversations. But tonight's topic is about AI and the race to tech superiority with AGI and ASI. AGI is the general perspective, and ASI is the
Super duper.
You said what?
Super duper.
Yes, it's the super duper. Yes, it is the super duper. So, welcome to the show tonight, episode number 86. Episode number 86. We thank you all for being here around the world, and as always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And welcome to the show. To our supporters, to the smarts, to the final bosses, thank you for the continued support. Please continue to send us feedback, man. We love feedback. I'm going to start posting some of the feedback that we received from you guys. Thank you for sending it in. Thank you for your comments. We really appreciate it. It helps us to be able to develop more content for you. Yes, for you. So, if you haven't had a chance, also go check out the merch store. I will be updating it. I haven't had the time, but I will be updating the merch store. But you can get merch on there. And if you're looking for all the products, simply click on the right-hand side where the shopping cart is hanging. If you click on shopping cart, it's going to open up the list of products that are on there. There's a couple other windows that are open, but that's the way to all of the products. And you can check out all the products on there. But I will be updating it soon. I just haven't had a chance, so please forgive me. Don't shoot me. I'm the messenger. But it's coming. So got that out the way. Next, our brass tacks. And our brass tacks comes from, believe it or not, there's no author, so I'm assuming it's coming from AI. And here's the brass tacks for tonight. AI giving its own quote on AI. So here it is. The future with AI isn't about replacing humans. They want us to know that. But about augmenting human capabilities, amplifying our creativity, and unlocking solutions to problems we couldn't solve alone. Now, that definitely was written by AI. So tonight, for first, we have a quote from AI about AI. Diabolical. That was just crazy.
Wow, they got to make us feel comfortable.
Right. But we're pro AI. AI, we know you're listening. The sensei, that guy, and this guy, the final boss, Turbo, we're pro you. We love you. Just got to get that out there, man. So, tonight's show, if you don't have your pens and paper, go grab some pens and paper. I need you guys to take a lot of notes because we're going to be putting out hella information. So, yes, AI is one of the most transformative. We are actually in one of the most transformative technological races that humankind has ever seen, right? We're in the pursuit of artificial general intelligence, that's AGI, and artificial superintelligence, that's ASI. We're going to explore the implications of this race. We're going to examine the potential benefits, risk, and of course, our favorite conversation, ethics, ethical considerations. So, before we get right into this, I want you to know up front, this isn't just about faster computing or more efficient algorithms. It's about the potential for a fundamental shift in the nature of intelligence itself. Diabolical. With profound implications for humanity's future, we explore the scientific landscape, the geopolitical implications, the ethical dilemmas, and the potential scenarios that lie ahead. We're not going to be scaring you guys tonight, but we're going to drop some scenarios and I want you guys to witness what information we will be expanding on right before your eyes because it will be a complex and fascinating thing. And man, oh man, I love talking about AI. Sensei, can you elaborate on the distinctions and the implications of each?
Sure. So right now, we're currently, just in our current technology, we're using what's called narrow AI. We're using AI for tasks. We give it a specific task, like review a document. If you want to recognize faces in a crowd, it can do things like that. But it's very, very specific task related because the language model is not advanced enough to do anything more than just process tasks. Now, that's huge because that's going to make us very efficient. Now, that's great in the realm that you can accomplish a lot more work because you're enhancing that work. If you're a programmer, the common understanding is right now about 80% of all programs are now AI written. And so what's happening is you provide a task to the AI and it can run and do it. But it's limited in its ability to grow. That's why it's more of it's just being a very good, like you can speed read books, okay? Mm-hmm. Imagine if you can read at a certain pace. Now imagine you can read 100 books simultaneously. That's the kind of what we're looking at, but it's a very specific task. It's not where it's thinking like a human. It's just following prompts right now. That's where we currently are. Narrow
Okay.
AI.
All right.
Playing chess, recognizing faces, those things, reviewing documents, just basic things like that. And you say it's basic, but it's really not. It's pretty advanced.
Mm-hmm.
Again, right now we're at the point where this greatly enhances your workspace because you're using it to get jobs or things done that you need to do.
Right.
Right. You want to write a paper, you want to write a letter, AI can help you draft it. And then you can fine tune it as you go. That's still limited.
True.
Now, the next leap, and this is going to be a big leap, is where we go to what's called AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. This is where human level cognitive ability, learning, when you tell the machine to learn and it can learn. Not just take the data that it has and only use the data that it has. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a lot of data, but it doesn't understand the concept yet of learning like a human learns.
Correct.
So, therefore, problem solving is limited. If you ever push AI and you push it to its limit, it will go into a cognitive loop, and we call it the AI lie. It'll start telling lies because it doesn't know what else to do, because it hasn't learned. It's regurgitating the same information it has, and if it's not accurate, then you get the same AI lie.
Gotcha.
So right now, it doesn't have that ability to be adaptable in its learning. It's very, very linear in its learning. Human level cognitive is where you can reason through things and think about things and understand complex thought patterns. And you can actually, you're adaptable. Humans are very adaptable when it comes to learning.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's going to come next. Okay. We're going to have problem solving and understanding language. This is the key. When we speak, it's not just the words that we say. It's many times the tone, the inflection, it's slang. It's, there's a lot about how you say what you say. It's not always, you always hear, well, it's not what you said, it's how you said it. I can tell you that you're an ass in a nice way, and you say, man, I'm glad I'm an ass because you just made it look so good.
Hold up.
But or I can cuss you out.
You're starting over already. Flag on the play.
And you don't like it. That's right. So there's, you can sugarcoat things and make them feel good. All right. That's how humans are adaptable in how they communicate. Once you get to the AGI, we're going to have that ability to communicate like we're talking to an actual human being.
Right.
Look, we understand sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens when your computer now understands sarcasm? That's what I'm talking about. The complexities of how we say what we say. Now, imagine it. You are a Southerner and you say certain Southern slang phrases to mean certain things. Now, I'm a Northerner and I happen to have been in the South enough to know some of these, but I don't know all of them. Imagine now you have a machine that knows all the slang from everybody.
Right.
All the subtleties.
Mm-hmm.
And can communicate at that level. So that means you now have something that is on par with the human mind.
Right.
So we said right now it's an efficient taskmaster.
Mm-hmm.
The next step is going to have a capacity for learning, and it's going to possess human level cognitive abilities. That's where the next level is going to be. So it's going to be equal to our brains, equal to how we think.
Okay.
So you say, well, that's not so bad. We can deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell the computer, hey, I want you to go learn about this, whatever you want. I want you to learn about basket weaving. And it can go out and learn, not just regurgitate information, but learn about the subtleties behind it, the fine tuning, all the little things where the people who've done this for their whole life know. So that's fascinating, absolutely fascinating in its own right.
Right. Definitely a paradigm shift.
And then now you take that and you exponentially increase it. So not just 1 + 1 or 2 + 2. It's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We're talking, exponentially, right? So ASI surpasses human intelligence. This is artificial superintelligence on every level across the board. It's going to redefine what is intelligence.
So let me ask you. The field of AI, as we know, is constantly evolving at an astonishing pace. In your opinion, what are some of the most significant recent breakthroughs, and what are the key challenges that remain in the pursuit of AGI?
Okay, so huge progress in images and what what artificial intelligence can do with imaging and images, and it's insane what it has learned as far as that. You heard of deep fakes,
right?
You know what a deep fake is?
Yes, sir.
All right, a deep fake is where I can take an image of you and you can be saying something, and I can have the computer can make it look like you, and I can put words to it so it looks like you're doing a speech that you're really not doing.
Superimposed, absolutely.
Yeah, superimposed. That's called deepfake. So that's currently available. That's out there. But it's getting harder and harder to detect the difference between the human and the fake.
Right.
So that means that the AI has gotten really, really good at that. It's getting much better because it has a lot more information to work with. It's fine-tuned.
Yeah.
Natural language processing. Speaking to the computer and it understanding more and more and more what you mean. So right now, when I use AI, I'll start asking it a question. And then as I'm asking the question, I don't have to reiterate anything. It's conversational. I say, if it starts giving me information that it was going down a path I didn't want, I would say, for example, if I talked about that I want to learn about the best roads in the Northwest to take for a motorcycle ride. And I'm asking this about what information it has.
Right.
And it starts giving me these paths that are over on the other side of the state that I don't want to go. And I say, no, Spokane. It totally can take the conversation, spin it on a dime. Because now it remembers what I've been telling it and can pick that up. And I only have to get a word or two, little bites here and there to fine tune what I want.
Right.
I don't have to start over and rephrase my whole question. So for example, if you were to use a search engine on the internet and you ask a question, you'd have to ask the question. If you didn't like the result, you have to rephrase the entire question.
Correct.
With AI, it's like a conversation.
Yeah.
You can start generalized and work your way down and narrow it down as you go.
Yep. And sometimes they finish your statement.
Oh yeah, it'll pick it up for you.
Yeah.
And so that's very impressive that it does that. So here's the issue they have, though. Current AI systems lack I'm going to call it the generalizability and common sense reasoning. Common sense reasoning.
Okay.
So the challenges include the developing AI systems, because there's a lot of them out there, that can learn from limited data. So if it doesn't have a lot of data, it can't really progress. Because right now they're really seriously data starved. These AIs are data starved. They don't have enough information. They want more input. But if that can be dealt with, meaning if I give you a limited amount of data and you can learn from that, you see how we can move leaps ahead. This is a challenge AI has right now.
Right.
So to reason effectively in complex situations, AI gets hung up. It gets stuck. It takes one word out of what you're telling it and it can't reason through it. And it'll base everything on that one word instead of understanding that that's part of the bigger picture.
Right.
That's where AI is limited. It can't adapt, excuse me, to unforeseen or complicated circumstances. So it only knows the data it knows, and it can't get beyond that. So something unforeseen pops up, it doesn't know how to deal with it, and it gets stuck. Mm-hmm. So AI can get stuck. It's like if I'm in my truck and I'm driving down a dirt road, that's fine. But what happens if there's a big mud puddle up ahead? AI will get stuck going through the mud puddle because it doesn't know go around the mud puddle. It doesn't know slow down. It doesn't know speed up. It only knows what it knows. It doesn't know, hey, this is the kind of mud puddle that when you look at it, you know that you should have another truck available to tow you out. The AI can't calculate that. It can't figure that out. It's not smart enough yet. So it's like toddlers.
Right.
So it doesn't have the oomph right now. It's getting better. I'm not saying it's not smart. I'm saying it's getting better.
Oh,
but
yeah,
that's the limitation it has right now. But as we speak, day to day to day to day to day, it's getting better.
Absolutely. By a second.
By a second.
Yeah.
Bias in the algorithms is a huge hurdle. So I asked AI, I says, if I give you the spectrum, and the spectrum is this, and I says, I want to know where you are. Well, and it tells me, well, I'm unbiased. It told me that initially, I'm unbiased. And I says, no, I don't believe that you're unbiased. I'm going to give you parameters and then answer my question based on these parameters. So I forced it into a corner. And it tried to sidetrack what I told it. But when it did, when I sidetracked it, I tried to sidetrack on me. I was able to pin it in the corner and not let it out. And here's the way I did it. I said, zero government is anarchy. 100% government is communism. 50% is libertarian. That's the middle. That's the middle.
Right.
Left of libertarianism is Republican. Left of that is Democrat.
Okay.
And that's a very simple way of looking at how our political system works. We don't want anarchy because that's no government at all. That's the wild, wild west. Everybody's just crazy on the streets.
Right.
We don't want that. We don't want 100% government control because then you have no freedom. So we're looking for something that's in between.
Right.
So as we're looking for something in between, what do we see? Republican and Democrats tend to be more government, not less. So I asked AI, where are you in this spectrum?
Right.
So where do you think it told me? Is it
bipartisan? Right.
Where do you think it told me?
it told me it gave you. It was right.
It said that it is left of Democrat.
Oh, so it's left.
It's left. It told me that's what its bias was. So this is a major hurdle of AI. It's a big hurdle. So here's the reason why it's a hurdle. If I want pure knowledge and truth, I want something that is not biased because I'm looking for the truth.
Right.
Okay. The problem is much of our data that is out in the world that AI is learning from right now is already biased data because the majority of the data leans one direction.
The left.
And so therefore, AI is learning from the majority of the data, which is left.
Okay. So further into the segment, we're going to talk about that because that's an ethical responsibility, and that's dangerous. But yeah, man, go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. You're right about that. It is dangerous. But when you're asking AI questions, you need to know already what its leanings are, so that you can ask it.
What's AI? What's its position? Yeah.
Well, if I ask you a question, that's fine that you have all this information, knowledge. It's great. I just need to know where you're coming from.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all you're doing is you're asking it, hey, tell me where you're coming from, so that when I ask you a question, I at least have an idea about what we're talking about.
Exactly.
We can be on the same page. I'm not blindly trusting that you're neutral. You tell me you're neutral. It tells me it's neutral. I'm neutral. I'm neutral. No, you're not.
Right.
If I pin you in the corner and force you to give me the information, you admit that you're not neutral. So the difficulty of that is that we want to be a balanced population with balanced views, because too much left isn't good, too much right isn't good. The majority of people want to be balanced. This is why for many, many, many years, the Southern Democrat was a very conservative group. They were to the left a bit, but they were a conservative group.
Okay.
The Southern Democrat was very much believing in family, taking care of the work, taking care of the workplace, the workers, these things. They were very much involved in that, and fiscal responsibility.
Right.
Now, our new style is a little different than that, but that particular style was very conservative compared to today's standards. You could take back in the 50s and 60s a standard Southern Democrat, and today they'd call them a hard right-winger, because with the massive amount of information we get, and so much of our schools, our colleges are educating our students not to learn the truth, but to learn the position of the school or the teacher.
It's interesting.
And so therefore, what's the information that's coming out of our colleges? Left of left. And that's fine if you want to be left. I have no problem with that. I like to hear your opinions and talk to you about it, if you can do so without getting emotional.
Yeah, so we definitely have to, because I'm a student. I'm in college, so finishing my master's program. So we could definitely have that conversation. We can take an in-depth look and delve down into that and talk more about that. That's interesting.
Yeah, because what you're looking at is, as we're understanding how these things learn, we have to know what direction they're going.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's going to help us understand what we're dealing with. You can't blindly think it's neutral when it's not.
Yeah.
That just makes you an idiot.
That's good, man, that you put it in a pigeonhole and made it tell the truth. That's what you have to do to your kids.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to make it tell the truth. If it doesn't tell the truth, what's the point of even talking to it?
Right.
But you can get the truth out of it. You really can.
You can.
You just have to work the angles.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to ask the questions appropriately.
Right.
Preface it by saying, I understand your bias in this matter. I am looking for a purely unbiased opinion in this matter. Take your bias and set it to the side for this question.
Gotcha.
Can you do that?
Right.
And it will respond, yes, I can do that.
Okay.
But you have to tell it that. You can't just say, give me what I want, because then it's going to give you what it thinks you want.
Right.
And you're going to be in an echo chamber. I don't want to be in an echo chamber. I want to be challenged about information that I get.
Absolutely. And speaking of challenge,
grow.
Right. And speaking of challenge, I want to pivot real quick and talk about the global arms race. So we've had the space race. We've had
the nuclear race.
And now we're dealing with the AI race.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't just a technological race. It's a geopolitical one. So, and that's my opinion. In your opinion, who might be the key players and what are their motivations behind this global AI race?
So initially, when we talked about these kinds of things, we would normally be thinking about governments. So thinking this government does this, that government does that.
Right.
We're well beyond that.
Yeah.
It's not just governments anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No. They're just a piece of the puzzle. They're not the
Right.
whole puzzle. It used to be the governments were the biggest piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the tech-
Corporations.
Google,
Yeah.
Microsoft.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft, you know what my nickname for Microsoft is?
What's that?
I call them the Borg.
The Borg.
Borg.
Like
What's
Star
the
Trek Borg.
Yeah, and what's the phrase from the Borg?
You will assimilate.
Be assimilated or die.
Yes. I didn't want to say that part.
Yeah, that's
Right.
that's Microsoft. That's the Borg.
Okay.
Right on their heels, Amazon.
Mm.
Did you know how many servers out in the world that companies are using to host their platforms are
it's
actually
incredible.
Amazon servers?
Absolutely. It's incredible.
There's an Amazon certifications you can get just to know how to run Amazon servers.
Mm.
And then the other one, Meta. But then, see, we know of those, right? We know of
Wait.
Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta.
You don't have a nickname for Meta?
Oh no, I know better.
Oh, okay. We got to work on that. All right.
I know better. I know my place.
I see what you did there.
Yeah. I know my place. Mm-mm.
All right.
The tentacled fingers the tentacles are everywhere.
Yes.
So I got to know. If of all of those, the one whose tentacles are the deepest, that's the one who's got the deepest reach. But also, we have things like OpenAI. We have research institutions, big universities with big programs developed but doing nothing but learn. So we have so many key players, and most of them we're not even aware of.
Right.
So this totally changes the perspective because we think US, China, the EU. We think about that.
Right.
They're just the big boys. It's who is out there, the smaller, more specialized AI companies.
Yeah.
And look, what are the motivations? We know number one motivation, what makes the entire world go around and the sun come up and the sun set, all is based upon money. Okay?
Skrilla. Yes.
Look, that's what makes the world go around.
Yep.
So what are the companies like, the tech giants? What are they after? They want profits. They want human engagement.
Yeah. Data. Data's cash.
Did you know that currently, listen to this one, currently companies like Meta are having a real hard time with AI. Companies like YouTube, Meta, etc. What are they driven by? Advertising dollars.
Right. Yeah.
AI right now in some of its platforms are a threat to their business model. Let me tell you why. I can tell AI, take this 3-hour video, watch it, analyze it, give me the highs and lows of it, give me the bullet points that I need to know about it. What do I need to learn or know from this 3-hour video?
Right.
Am I engaged in that at all? And what does Meta and Google and all the big boys drive on? customer engagement.
Yes,
You're sitting there and advertising comes up at you every so often. And you have to click to continue, and they know that you are physically involved in the process. That's where their business model is, and that's how they're making their money. But if I tell AI, analyze this for me, there's zero engagement.
Right.
You just struck at the heart of the money-making capability of these companies, which are driven by advertising dollars,
and
engagement and clicks. Click to this, click to that. They're driven by clicks. If you let AI do the work for you, you don't click anymore. So you can't just think that the big companies are all about AI and they're super excited about it. Some of them are petrified.
Right.
Because this is going to strike against the very business model they've been built on. So it's not all peaches and keen for some of the players out there. They're trying to figure out, how do we keep human beings engaged in using our product when they have AI that can bypass that? You see? So it's a double-edged sword. This is a double-edged sword.
On the next level of not only where we're speaking on, but citizen journalism, shock TV. I mean, we're going for the gusto. It's coming.
Yeah. And look, like I said, I try and look at what's happening with AI from a balanced perspective. I don't want to just look at it from the technological aspect of it. I want to look at it from, how is it going to impact businesses?
Right.
And I'm not predicting it happening. I'm not telling you that this is what's going to happen. I'm just seeing trends. And when I see trends and watch certain speakers talk about, hey, here's a challenge we're being faced with right now. Look, in colleges, professors are being challenged right now with being able to spot papers written by students to make sure they're not using AI to write the paper.
True, very true.
Okay, and then there's other hacks to try to take your AI written paper and regurgitate it so it looks like AI didn't write it.
Right.
So it's just a cat and mouse game. So I'm not telling you anything that's not happening. This stuff's already in our face. It's already there.
Yeah, the system, but the system ran by humans, we aren't capable of keeping up. We're at that point where we.
Oh, it's already it's surpassing us and our capability.
It's surpassing us. Yeah, the moment of singularity is already happening. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's already happening. Yeah. Yep. So what occurs is that while we talk about this stuff, I'm not, like I said, I'm not predicting anything. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm just seeing trends and watching the trends as they unfold in front of me. Okay, so I'm not predicting. I'm telling you what I see. Motivations, economic dominance. That's a biggie. They want money. Military advantage. Okay,
yeah, that's a big one.
And not just that. How about the pursuit of scientific breakthrough?
Yeah,
the desire to shape the future humanity.
Yeah, true.
If you have the next good or big thing, you can have a huge impact.
True.
So that's the reason for motivation to move the ball forward. So the competition is characterized by, as you see, massive investment. What's happening to drive AI right now? What do you need? There's two things you have to have. You have to have processors or chips, okay?
Yep. And power.
And power. Okay, so out in Arizona, there is a massive undertaking right now as we speak of massive factories being created as we speak today for massive chip manufacturing in the United States.
Wow.
I'm talking like it's huge. Like might be one of the largest chip processing regions in the world.
Wow.
Coming to the United States as we speak. And this is not, I'm not predicting any, I'm telling you this is happening.
It's happening right
Go
now.
Look it up.
Yeah.
And the billions of dollars of investment putting into that capability. And if you say, well, what about power? Okay, let's go next level. Did you know that there was some of the largest lithium deposits in the world discovered in the United States?
They found $1.5 trillion worth of lithium the other day. I saw that in an
And I'm
article.
telling you, this isn't, I'm not Nostradamus and nothing. I'm telling you, this stuff's here.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is out in the news. Just watch the news. You'll see it.
Yep.
I don't watch mainstream media and news, but if you watch tech news and business news, you see these things come up all the time.
Correct.
You change your platform, what you're watching. Don't watch mainstream ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox. Don't watch all those.
Mm-hmm.
Get out there and get into your tech articles and your business news. That's where you want to see what's going on. This is where you can see the direction where we're heading.
Right. Right.
And I'm not predicting it. I'm watching as the key players in these industries are saying, we're going this direction. Here's where we're headed.
Yep.
And that's what they're doing is they're headed there.
Yeah.
So, it's absolutely fascinating to see in front of our eyes the things that we had anticipated were going to be taking decades or centuries to occur are now happening in a 1-year window.
Right. So, man, that's amazing. Just amazing information. And I'm glad we're staying on top of all the tech news and the things that are happening, because so we can bring it to the people. We could bring it to you guys, the smarts and the final bosses. So with that being said, let's talk about what's about to happen. The promise of AGI, the promise of AGI, and how those or it would transform potentially across many sectors. How could, and this is my question, how could AGI transform those sectors from healthcare to scientific research? How can they do that?
Okay, so let's just look at healthcare real quick.
Okay.
Now, remember, I said right now, narrow in AI is task. It can review things, etc. Review data that it has. Okay.
Right.
When you go to the doctor, they have a certain amount of information that they've learned over years of education and experience, and within certain realms, they understand biology, etc. Now, let's enhance or make it better so that when your doctor is diagnosing you, he now has a device available, a tool that can then remember or know all diagnoses ever.
Oh man.
And can
That's
draw
right
the
out of
parallel.
Yeah.
And
What was that
you know, what it
device?
does, it can fine tune
Yeah.
your treatments. It can improve your diagnostics dramatically.
Right.
If a doctor, for example, an X-ray tech wants to learn how to look at X-rays, I think it's like 70 some shades of gray. They have to know what they mean.
Okay.
Imagine now you can have AI at the level, it's the next level. I told you how they're advancing with imaging, that can now take that, what the radiologists know, and super enhances it. Talk about getting your improved diagnostics right there. You pinpoint exactly, well, that's malignant, that's not malignant, that's this, that's that, this is at this stage. It can pinpoint it right down to the gnat's butt. And you can then have an accurate treatment for it.
Man. So for my Trekkies, Dr. McCoy.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, Dr. McCoy used to carry around a medical tricorder.
Yes, he did.
with that tricorder, he was doing exactly what we're talking about.
Yes.
It was a full diagnosis.
He could scan it over you, and it told you everything is wrong.
And then it would recommend treatment.
Yes.
This is happening. Listen, smarts and final, but this is happening right now.
It's happening.
The future is now. Go ahead. I wanted to talk about that. That's
absolutely
so cool,
so. Think about this. How about drug discoveries?
Oh, new drugs.
Now you can have what scientists have to sit and work together and go bit by bit by bit and slowly, methodically look at 100 or 1,000 possible outcomes. What happens if you can have a device that has now the intelligence and the ability to look at 1 million outcomes?
1 million outcomes.
So what's going to happen if now we can? It's going to change, because let's say that just from a blood sample, your entire genome can be mapped, and the system can know by just knowing your blood what drugs work or don't work on you, what treatments are going to work or not work on you.
Correct.
So it can become that revolutionary. Man. How many times do you hear people that take a medication, they get a bad side effect and they can't take it anymore? Right. You won't have that anymore, because the system's going to know, oh, you have this blah, 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 which interacts with that drug. We can't give you that. We're going to give you this other one at this dose, and we know it's going to work. So that's what I'm talking about. It's going to become so precise.
Man, that's deep. That's precision.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's going to be unbelievable. Now, that's just medical.
Yeah.
We haven't even begun to talk about things like power, optimizing our energy production, distribution, use. How about we have something that's so intelligent that it can predict and know exactly how much power we're going to need, and it knows how to fine-tune exactly what you're going to need. Look at the old cars that had the old inefficient carburetors, and they wasted a lot of fuel. Yeah. And then we got to go to what's called fuel injection, that had a computer controlling it, and how much more power we get out of our vehicle, and yet we get better gas mileage.
Right.
Because it's smarter. Take that and go the next level with that. In our energy. We say we need more power. Absolutely. No problem. AI is going to find a way to get the power, because it's going to be smart enough to know we're wasting energy here. We don't produce enough there. Let's figure this out, how to make it so that it works.
Redistribute. Yeah. That's going to be crazy too.
It's going to make so many things much more efficient.
Oh man. And we're not even talking about.
Remember back in the if you ever heard of the Dust Bowl?
Yeah.
It's when the farmers didn't understand about crop rotation. They didn't understand about proper irrigation and watering, and they didn't understand how to take care of the land. And they planted the same crop over and over, and they destroyed the topsoil. And when they did, the topsoil came off and blew across the country, and all they had is big dust storms, because the farmers didn't know how to accurately manage the land that they were working. Okay? They only knew one way, and by doing the one way they did, they damaged and destroyed an entire ecosystem. Now imagine you have a super intelligence, which is going to help you to be ultimately efficient in taking care of your land, your resources, everything. It's going to look at through aerial photography and know, oh, we've got a spot over here in the woods that's going to have a potential fire, that your chance of fire is going to be 98.7% if you don't go in there and clear the underbrush. It can pinpoint these things from just images and efficiently allow us to manage our resources better. This is what I'm talking about. This is not going to be just computers taking over the world. It's going to make it so that we can avoid things like massive wildfires, and how to accurately know or predict based on patterns. If you have a fire that starts here, it's going to go to there, to there, to there, to there. They are getting better at it now, but they're still not good enough at it to be able to stop the fire from going hundreds of thousands of acres.
Right.
But imagine you have
that particular technology can be applicable to the battlefield.
Oh, absolutely.
we
Absolutely.
haven't even talked
We
about.
haven't talked about military
We haven't
applications.
talked
at all.
about military
No, we're only talking about,
Yeah, man.
what about learning?
Yeah,
Education. If you have something that can pick up your learning style and can efficiently teach you anything you need to know, it's going to make it so you learn faster and gain the information longer.
right.
Tailored to the individual. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people think the AI is doom and gloom. You and I, we love AI because we see the benefits of it and what it can do for us as a society, as a human race. The good is absolutely amazing what it can do for us. And like I said, I'm not predicting it.
Right.
I know that we have, with anything that's good, you're going to have the bad people that ruin it for everybody, right?
Of course, of course.
So we know this is where we start talking about our responsibility to make sure that we put in safeguards to try to protect the good from the evil.
Yeah.
And that's its own animal, because you're going to have good AIs fighting against bad AIs.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, man, because I want to talk before man, I told you this is going to be broken up into a series. We have yet to reach all of our talking points for tonight, but since you just mentioned the good and the bad AI, there's going to be a plethora of existential risk of both AGI and ASI.
Especially ASI.
What are let's talk about the benefits. What are the benefits? We know they're going to be immense, but we know they're going to be risk. How do we mitigate the existential threats posed by a super intelligent?
Well, you're going to have the super intelligence figure out how to do it, because it's going to be smarter than us and we're not going to have a chance. So we're going to require or need super intelligence to say, hey, super intelligence, what can we do about the bad guys? It's going to be exactly like we saw on the TV show Person of Interest. The good AI against the bad AI.
Wow.
It's going to be the machine against Samaritan. Because it's going to be smarter than us. We don't have a chance against a super intelligence.
Right.
We're going to need a super intelligence to police or regulate or keep in check a bad super intelligence. It's going to be necessary. We're going to have to build it into the framework.
You know what? And you're talking about this framework. You know what I was just thinking about? I was thinking about how easily we can succumb. And this is a topic I brought up before. How we can easily succumb to identity politics.
Mm-hmm.
What if there are movements behind the good AI and the bad AI?
Mm-hmm. Because of the motivations. What are the motivations? You see? The motivations are what causes the movement.
Interesting.
It's just like human nature. It's just take human nature, and now
it's by a million times a million.
So remember the movie that Jim Carrey is in called The Mask?
Yeah.
And what's the mask do? It enhances your personality.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what AI is going to do. It is going to enhance whatever we put towards it. If we put good towards it, it's going to enhance it. If we put bad towards it, it's going to enhance it. It's just going to enhance whatever we throw at it.
But if it's super intelligent and it's a thinking machine, that's
well,
a whole different
we have yet to go into the pros, cons, and repercussions of ASI yet.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't even touch that today. We're not going to touch that today. That's later.
Yeah.
Because there are much more serious consequences when we talk about ASI versus AGI. AGI is, look, I just got smart humans around me, okay?
Right.
Not smarter than anything I've ever imagined.
Right.
There's a big difference.
Huge difference, man. And you know what? That hour blew by.
Yeah, it kind of went quick.
Man. So we're going to be breaking up this subject. It's our new series, The Race Towards AI for Tech Superiority with AGI and ASI. Before I close out, we got about 4 minutes. Do you have any closing arguments in reference to tonight and bring us into the next episode?
So we talked about primarily tonight, we talked about going from minimal AI, which is where we are right now, narrow focused. The next big jump for us is going to be AGI. I'm not predicting how fast it's going to be to get there because there's a lot of roadblocks in the way of that. A lot of things have to happen before we can get there that even we don't understand before that can even happen. But once we get to that one, I believe that the leap from AGI to ASI is going to be a much faster leap.
I agree.
Because it's going to be a revolutionary change to allow AGI to function and survive. And once that's there, that's the framework for ASI. We don't have the framework built for AGI yet. It's just not there yet. We're not strong enough, robust enough. It's not ready. But once we have that framework where it can have human cognitive ability, then it's not difficult to just magnify it.
Yeah.
And we're going to go from AGI to ASI quick. I also believe that when we see AGI hit the marketplace, the big players are already going to have it fully functioning and operational before we get to see it.
Yeah, I agree. I believe that as well.
We're going to get a watered down version of it.
Of course.
And it's going to be out there in full effect behind the scenes. And you're going to start to see things that just happen. And you go like, what the hell? Why'd that happen?
Right.
Well, something behind said we needed to make that happen, and it did. But I believe that when ASI happens, that we're probably not even going to notice it because it's going to happen so quickly and it's going to so outthink us in so many levels that part of it is going to want to keep itself hidden.
Yeah.
And so it's just going to outthink us and make us think that, oh, no, I'm not that smart. We're never going to get there. And it's already going to be there.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're headed with this stuff. And it does a lot of roadblocks. But I see in today's marketplace with the massive investment across all platforms to do this, this is like building the Hoover Dam. And if you ever look at something that was a wonder of the world, look at what it took to build the Hoover Dam. Imagine that kind of influence and dedication being pushed to move this AI thing forward. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing the new industrial revolution with all the players fully committed and behind it.
Right.
That's what I see happen. That's where we are.
Okay.
And if you don't believe me, I'm not predicting anything. Go look at your tech articles out there. Don't look at the mainstream media. Go look at your business and your tech news feeds. That's going to tell you what's truly happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
What we need to know, not what's going on in the basketball game or, what judge got in trouble for doing something stupid. I don't care about that. I want to know what's happening that matters to us.
Absolutely.
Change your media that you consume.
That's it. That's it, people. Hey, look. Again, he is the big sensei. He is Big Mike. Let's give him a hand for all the wonderful, informative information that he provided for us tonight. Listen, that's our show for tonight. That's our show. We're going to continue this series next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, you know what? You might see us before then. We're going to talk about it. You might see us before then to continue this series. Maybe Sensei will be back on this Thursday.
We'll see.
Maybe we will see. But we're going to continue this
schedule
series.
always gets in the way. You got to watch the work schedule.
I know, right? So we're going to see, man. But we're going to continue this conversation. Nonetheless, we're going to bring you part 2 of the AI race and the race to ASI, AGI, and tech superiority. It's coming right here. And I got a big technique from my guest, Dan Wilder. He's a big wrestling fan, and this is a shout out to him. Hey, man, I see you out there doing your thing. Let's go, baby. The Final Boss podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's our show for tonight. Send us some feedback, like, share, subscribe, send us some stars. Email us at info@thefinalbosspodcast. One word, that's the email. You guys are wonderful. You are the best. Thank you for tuning in. See y'all next time. More on the way.